Hello everybody, my name is Stone Rain Productions, but feel free to call me SRP. Thanks for stopping by for another video today. Today we're going to be checking out a Set 6 Luthen Rael Cunning list. And a lot of these are not new cards. There is one new card in here, but I just wanted to try a frame for this leader because it seems good with ambush in my opinion. We'll start off by taking a look at the leader itself and see what it does, and then we'll go from there. So, Luthen has an ability with, when a friendly unit is defeated while attacking, you may exhaust this leader. If you do, deal 1 damage to a unit or base. So, that's not terrible. It flips on 5, it's a 2/7, and it has the same static ability on the backside as well, too. I don't think this is the absolute best leader, but it's kind of an interesting idea as far as like an aggressive somewhat controlling deck. You're using your units as removal for the most part with this type of a build, and Luthen is basically making it so we're going to get the trade no matter what we do here. So, for example, something like a Cloud Rider 3/1, we can ambush that on turn 1, but with that we can actually kill something that's got 4 hit points on it. So it's something to think about, and it's not bad. To start, I'm going to just use a basic 30 hit point base, just the generic Cunning, and we'll go through the cards one at a time, and we'll just explain what everything does here. Now remember, one of the things that we want to do here is when a friendly unit is defeated while attacking, so this leader encourages us to defeat our units while we're attacking into something. That doesn't mean we have to defeat all of our units, but we want to focus in on that. One of the tricks that I've got here is Heroic Sacrifice. 1 cost, draw a card, and we're going to attack with a unit. It gets +2/+0. After it completes the attack, you have to sacrifice that unit. So it's a good way to get in some extra damage. You don't necessarily have to run into another unit with this, but it's just something that we could use to guarantee that the unit's going to get defeated with that Luthen attack. So it's just another way that we can trigger Luthen's ability essentially here. Yeah, when a friendly unit is defeated while attacking. Yeah, okay. So that would work. We've also got, I decided to do a mix of space and ground here, just to give it an even game plan, not be too weak against one or another. I'd say this deck favors the ground a little bit, but primarily it can hold its own in space if it needs to. We've got 3 copies of Anakin's Interceptor. I was just going to the 2 cost here, 2/3. It gets +2/+0 if we've got 15 damage on our base. If we're intending to get into grindy battles, this is a kind of card that I could see being a big role player in a deck like this. Something that can get bigger, lets us attack, trade into units with 4. So I think that this is a good idea for this leader because, as I said, we're going to stay grindy with this deck. Cloud Rider, as I said before, is going to allow us to trade into something with 4 toughness because we're going to get the 3 from the Cloud Rider and then the 1 from Luthen's ability. So we'll be able to do that. So one other thing that I just wanted to point out on Luthen's ability here. It says you may exhaust this leader. If you do, deal 1 damage to a unit or base. So if we kill something with 3, we can exhaust Luthen to deal 1 to a base as well. Just something to keep in mind. One other way that you could go with this is just look for all overwhelm units. I do have a K2SO in here, and I think that is a very good way that you could build this as well. I wanted to stick primarily with ambush in this initial build of Luthen. Next up, I've got 3 copies of Fireball. 3/3 ambush for 2. Deals a damage to itself. So there's a chance that it's going to live here, but we can kind of time this so that we know it's going to end up getting defeated. So if we plan this right, we can take out a 3-cost unit, or something with 3 hit points in space the turn that we play it, we can even get up to 4 damage with Luthen's ability. Another good early space unit is the Green Squadron A-Wing. I think everybody's familiar with this now. 2 cost, 1/3 in space, and it's got raid 2. So it's just another grindy unit. This has only got 1 attack, but when we attack with it, it's got up to 3. We could get that up to 4 with Luthen's ability if this is defeated. Sticking with the early turns, we've got the Mysterious Hermit. It is a 1/4 on the ground with ambush. Again, this is something where we can pick off something that's got 2. This is most likely not going to get defeated on turn 1. However, it is something that we can snipe a 1 toughness unit and play with, and then the second time it attacks, we can get the ability off of Luthen. Around that same line, we've got 3 copies of the X-34 Land Speeder. It's 2/3 with ambush. And again, this is something that we can take out 3 hit points worth of ground units if this dies. So it's just another ambush, get in, take something out. 3 copies of Cassian. Cassian is just pretty much a standard in any aggression deck at this point. Being able to smuggle it out later in the game and have it come into play ready instead of exhausted is pretty key to get in that last 3 bits of damage if it's needed here. Contracted Hunter is absolutely going to be defeated at the end of turn. So we could snipe something with 4 toughness and then finish something with 5 toughness off with Luthen if we need to. There's really no way to save this like we would be able to in Kaz per se, Kazuda type deck, but I still think it's very strong here as far as clearing the way for our other ground units. I've decided to include 2 copies of Red 3 here, the Raid 1 to all of our units with, I believe that's Heroism, right? It's been a while since I've looked at it yet. So there's quite a few units that do not have the Heroism aspect, but we have so many in here that I think it's manageable. We've got Cloud Rider, Fireball, Mysterious Hermit, X-34 Land Speeder, and Contracted Hunter. Those are the ones that don't have the Heroism. The rest is all Heroism, so I think it plays. I think it's good enough to put in there. And as a 2/3 with Raid 1 itself, I think it's a good one to include. Another space unit here with ambush is the Azatok Liberator. This is something from set 1. It's been a pretty solid card. I think it fits in well here as a 4 cost 3/4 with ambush and space. We could go green and try to go ambush that way as well too, but I really like the theme of what Cunning has to offer with this leader and the ambush. It's got a lot of ambush. Again, I do think that it's very easy to go overwhelm, and that leads us into our next unit here, K2SO, 4 cost 4/4 overwhelm. We don't really care if this dies because we're going to either deal 3 damage to a base with this, or we're going to make somebody discard. Now the nice thing about this, in combat, if it dies, we can deal the 3 damage to the base. Once it's defeated, we can use Luthen and add an extra damage, so that's now 4. So that's something to kind of keep our eye on. I think K2 is great. I also really like Cassian with him, so it's kind of on theme for the Andor show, if you've seen that. We've got 2 copies of the Han Solo Pilot. It's good because we've got a lot of space. It lets us get in an extra attack, but coincidentally, this also has ambush. So if we need to get an extra ambusher, it's not great as an ambusher on the ground for a 5 cost 4/5, but if we absolutely need to, it's here. We can do it, so it's not terrible. Speaking of ground ambushers, we've got Plo Koon. I think pretty much everybody knows this. In the games that I've played with this, it's almost always had coordinate. There's been a couple of times, I guess, where it didn't because we're really trading off a lot. But in the mid to late game, I think that there's enough units where this is okay to use. You could probably even cut this down to 2 if you wanted, and go from there. But this has been fantastic in my testing with it. Even if it comes down as a 3-6 ambush, it's still usually good enough. I haven't really run into that as a problem for the most part. Another set 1 classic next with Syndicate Lackey, just a 5-4 with ambush. Again, we're going to kill anything that's got 6 HP with this, as long as the Syndicate Lackeys is defeated. I've got 3 copies of Depo Balaba, another great ambush. This one's got Saboteur, so if we do run into something with a shield, we can take out the shields. We can still run into something and defeat it, potentially, and get the extra damage in with Luthen. I do have 1 copy of Han in here, just because I like the shoot first ability with him. The ambush is great. I think this is a great solid beater for sure. With 7 cost 6/6 with the ambush and the shoot first text it's pretty hard to beat that. We're going to take out anything with him. This doesn't really align with our plan because we're not planning for Han to die, but it's still really good, and I think it fits the deck pretty well. So a unit that doesn't really have a home that I think a lot of people are interested in is this new, or the set 5 Qui-Gon Legendary, 7/6 with ambush, or 7/5 with ambush. I've got 3 copies of it in here, and the cool text on this is, I'm going to zoom in on it, and when it's defeated, you may choose a non-leader ground unit. Its owner puts it on top or bottom. So we kind of want this to die in this deck. It's got low toughness, so we're going to be taking out something. We're going to be dealing an extra damage with Luthen, and then we're going to make them put something on top or bottom. So I see this as a win, and I think this could finally have, this unit could actually have a home here. Lastly, I'm running 1 copy of the new Mandalorian from set 6. I'm not super crazy about it, but I wanted to put something in that was from set 6 here and not just depend on sets 1 through 5. It's an 8 cost ambush, and when it attacks, you may choose an enemy unit leader. This unit captures it. So if the Mandalorian survives the ambush, it's going to also capture something. I think that's pretty cool. I don't see that being used a lot, but if we can get into something once with it, I think it's fine. Even if we have to crash in later with this and get it defeated and give back a unit, it's going to go back to your opponent exhausted, so I don't see that as a big problem. But yeah, that's the first draft of Luthen. I really think that you could go with Overwhelm as your theme instead if you wish. But I think that Luthen really wants you to be grindy, wants you to sacrifice your pawns. That's what he's doing here to get that extra damage. So that's the way I decided to go with him. And yeah, that's the list. I just wanted to, before we get out the door here, just wanted to say thanks first for stopping by to watch the video. I really appreciate it. And definitely would appreciate if anybody would subscribe. Likes are always welcome. I'm still a pretty new content creator for Star Wars Unlimited, and any help is appreciated. So once again, thanks so much for stopping by. Hope that you have a great day. May the Force be with you. Take care, my friends. Be well.